Hey everybody, it's Chanchai, and I'm making this special video for a friend on Discord. It's a new player who's learning Virtua Fighter right now. They're called Tekken Warlord, and Tekken Warlord is kind of learning Wolf at the moment. They're learning VF, and they had questions about crouch dash. It's a great question. They asked me to show it to them, and so crouch dashing is really important in Virtua Fighter. It's essential. Uh, at some point you do have to learn it. There's a lot of techniques that use it, and so it's really important that you get comfortable doing crouch dash. And for a beginner, it can be very unintuitive, but what I can tell you is it's similar to wave dashing in Tekken, but it's a lot easier actually. So there's two main ways to input it, and the game is very forgiving about reading your inputs for crouch dash. So what is a crouch dash? Well, I'm going to use numeric notation. So if you look at the arcade stick indicator on the bottom left of the screen, remember that down back is 1, down is 2, down forward is 3, back is 4, neutral is 5, forward is 6, up back is 7, up is 8, up forward is 9. Okay, that's numeric notation. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we're going to use that notation because it's a lot easier to describe and precisely say what direction I mean when I use numeric notation. It uses less syllables, it rolls off the tongue faster once you're used to it. So I hope the audience can keep up with that. But let's get into what a crouch dash is. A crouch dash is typically inputted in two different ways. You could actually input it three ways. The main way is usually it'll be written as 3-3, or but I could also say it would be 3-5-3, right? Because you always go back to neutral. In VF, it's important to understand that you want to, when you do your techniques and your moves, the game would prefer that you let the stick or D-pad or inputs go back to neutral between directions. We have a guard button, so we don't need to hold back all the time. For like Tekken, we don't need to hold down back, so we don't need to hold 4 all the time like in Tekken, and we don't need to hold 1 all the time like a 2D fighter. In Virtua Fighter, we want to leave the stick at neutral. And if you do this, your inputs will be a lot cleaner if you get used to it. It's a different feeling. It does feel robotic at first, but you'll get used to it. So 3-3. This is a normal crouch dash. My character is going into the crouch position, so he could, in theory, duck under. Well, he will definitely duck under high attacks, and he, in theory, could duck under throws. He would be vulnerable to mid attacks if he's crouching when the mid attack lands. But the game does do a check. But let's look at that conceptual framework first. So this is inputting it as 3-5-3, or down forward, neutral, down forward. So double tap down forward, double tap 3, right? And you can see my inputs aren't the cleanest. Virtua Fighter is very forgiving actually. About it knows this is, you want to do a crouch dash, and my advice to beginners is to hold this down forward input the second time until you see them do this. So this is a crouch dash. The second method for doing a crouch dash actually is you press down forward, and you can actually slide it to down and then do down forward. So like this. I use this method probably the most, but it's really, you want to get used to doing both. And then start with what you're most comfortable with between these two techniques. On stick, I do think this one's very nice and easy because on a lot of Japanese style arcade sticks, we're using square gates. So you bring the stick into the corner, and then you slide it from the corner to down just until you can feel that micro switch pop, and then you slide it back into the 3 corner again. So like this. So this is 3-2-3, and you can do this, right? 3-2-3 and squiggle it on stick. Very easy. On pad, this is easy too, right? So this is multiple crouch dashes. Or we can do 3-5-3, 3-5-3, 3-5-3. And again, I don't have the cleanest inputs. You can see that forward in there, but it's not screwing it up. The game is very forgiving about doing a crouch dash. So why is a crouch dash important? Well, forward crouch dash is really good. I would say as a beginner, don't do this one. Do not do down back, okay? You could do a backwards crouch dash, but this is the most risky thing you can do in Virtua Fighter. In Virtua Fighter, if you get hit from during a backdash, you get counter hit. The same is true as when you get hit during crouch backdash. Crouch backdash is actually the worst because you don't move very far, and so your opponent can, if they hit you, you're going to get counter hit, and if they sidekick you, you're going to get staggered really bad. It sucks. So just know, as a beginner, do not recommend the backdash or crouch backdash too much, but eventually you do learn how to use backdash really well. Backdash is really good. It does avoid certain moves, but long range moves can hit you, and you don't want to get counter hit. But also in Virtua Fighter, you can't really guard cancel backdash. This is very opposite of how you feel in a lot of fighting games, but this is also why VF gets played a lot up front, and why you want to learn how to mix up close and how to fight in close exchanges in Virtua Fighter. And then the reason crouch backdash is the worst is because you don't move very far. So if you're precise with your spacing and your opponent is precise with their spacing, then it can be really good there. But if your opponent precisely hits you, you're in trouble. So you got to be very, very careful, and that's why I don't recommend this to beginners. So again, crouch dash, down forward, down forward, down forward, down forward, and so this is really good. You can do this in general, and you can just crouch dash, and you can guard cancel crouch dash. You can block into it right away. In fact, you should. This is a very good movement to learn in Virtua Fighter. At all levels of play, this movement will help you, and then later you can stay ducking and attack. So let's get to the reason that Tekken Warlord wanted to learn crouch dash. Tekken Warlord wanted to learn crouch dash because Wolf has two attacks that are on the move list. You would see them listed as being like down, and then while down forward punch. This move, this elbow right. If I'm standing and I do down forward punch, I don't get that. This is a standing attack here, and this is 3P. So I have to be crouched to do it. I can do it the slow way like this, right? And this is fine. For a beginner, this speed is probably okay, but it is slow, okay? But there's a fast way to do it, and that is by doing a crouch dash into it. Alright? Now, Wolf does not have an attack with the command 3-3P, but if he did, he would not be doing his from crouch 3P by doing 3-3P, but he doesn't have that attack, so he can do 3-3P. And I'll show another character to illustrate this point later. So he can do 3-3P, he can do 3-2-3P, right? And both of these come out really fast. It might not look like it, but these come out a lot faster than how we would teach a beginner. Beginner would do, like, maybe we'd say do a low punch, then do 3P, right? Because then you're crouched from the low punch, and as long as you don't wait too long, you can do 3P and you get that. But that's not the best way to do this move, of course. The best way to do this move, of course, is like I'm going to cancel my high punch into it. I'm going to do my high punch, guard cancel, and do crouch dash 3P, right? And I get it a lot faster. Now neutral, because I'm used to doing the crouch dash, I do crouch dash 3P, right? Let's do a harder move for Wolf, because there is another Wolf move that Tekken Warlord asked about specifically, and that is, it looks like basically you hold down and then you go 3-6P, okay? It's I'll call it the pancake toss, right? And so for a beginner, doing this from low punch would be doing like a low punch, and then from the low punch, do like a fireball, right? You have to be crouching. That's kind of cumbersome, and that's a very slow way to do it, right? So how do you do it fast? Well, we use a crouch dash, and also, so crouch dash, I mean, if we manually ducked, we could do it too, right? So you can do this. So this, quarter circle forward punch. So we're crouching, quarter circle forward punch. Okay, but let's do it fast. So to do it fast, we can do the 3 neutral 3-5-3 into 2-3P. It's kind of cumbersome, but we can do that, right? Right? And I can do this pretty fast, but see, I messed up there. But that one I did fast, right? But if we use 3-2-3, this is actually where 3-2-3 shines. We can just do 3-2-3-6P. And so think of it as doing 3 into a fireball, okay? But let's do it fast. Like this, right? If you're watching my stick, you can see how I'm doing that, right? And this is why crouch dash is good. Now, you may be asking yourself, if I do a crouch dash, does it slow down my attack? And technically it does. So let's change our display to show the frame data. It won't show it on the frame data, but I can tell you that this attack is a 14 frame execution. When you do a crouch dash buffer, like let's say really fast, effectively this 14 frame move becomes a 15 frame moves. So crouch dash buffering adds 1 frame to the execution. Now if frame data is a bit heavy for you, don't worry about it. But I'm just giving you the information that basically when you do crouch dash buffer, meaning when you input a crouch dash before doing an attack and you do it really quick, especially when you do it when you're recovering from something like a jab, right? Then it basically adds about as little as 1 frame. So it's going to be acting like a 15 frame attack. And if your opponent did something that would line up with a 14 frame, it might lose there because it's acting 1 frame slower. But again, you don't have to know frames, just know that crouch dash is down forward, and down forward will work as well. I did mention that there's a third way to do crouch dash, and I don't recommend it, but I will show it. It has its uses. It does. I'm not saying it's not useful, because it is. But you will lose some of the benefits of crouch dash if you do corsical forward twice, right? Some people do this. This is a slower way to do crouch dash, but they are used to this motion from Street Fighter, so it may be a good starting point. But it could be used precisely for certain moves, especially like Akira has a very difficult one because he has crouch dash 4-6p, and I can show it with him. But first, I'll show a combo with Wolf to show the use of this move, like why it becomes useful. So, and then here's our pancake toss, and then we hit Sarah with that, right? So again, shoulder round, jab, boom, right? Very good combo. Very good combo. From far away, does it work? It does. Whoops, I messed that up. I messed that up again. So let's do it fast. See, if we do it fast, we do it well. If we did it too slow, we had trouble there because it didn't give the exact flop that we needed for that last hit. So again, you can watch it on my inputs here, right? But if we did it too slow, we're too late and we're not going to get that finish. It's a big difference in damage. Okay. Other uses of crouch dash, though. Let's finish this lecture with explaining the other uses of crouch dash. So crouch dash, if we set the AI to basically guard and counterattack with a jab, right? And let's do frame data. Well, let's show it. So we're at -8 here when they block this knee, and basically they're doing a high attack, so we could duck it. So if we hold down and guard, we're fine, right? When we do attacks, when the opponent does attacks, just holding down and guard when the attack would hit is enough for us to pretty much instant guard. But it doesn't really do this on throws. Okay, so on throws, the problem is the amount, like, it doesn't let us snap into this low guard. So I'm going to show that in a bit, and I'm going to show it with a different attack. But before I do that, let's do this elbow. I'm going to do Wolf's 3P and then duck. 3P, duck, right? And so 3P, duck, 3P, duck. This is not the crouching 3P. I apologize for the confusion that this may cause. But basically, this is a Wolf's version of a standard elbow, even though it's not really. Kind of an elbow. Okay, it's -5, and I can definitely duck under this high punch, right? Okay, so why am I showing that? This is an advanced application, and I apologize if it's over the head of some people, but I'm going to do guard and counterattack. Let's do throw. Where is it? Throw. Guard and counterattack number 4. Okay, if I do this at -5 when I do this elbow, I cannot duck this throw. Down and guard won't work. It worked against the high attack because the crouching, like, because you can, when you press 2G when they're attacking, it'll snap to crouching. It'll be like, oh, you wanted to do a low guard against this attack. It does not do that against throws in Virtua Fighter. So at -4, -5, we cannot duck a throw by holding down and guard. We can do it at -3, -2, -1, and in neutral. And when we have advantage, we can hold it long enough so that we'll duck under a throw manually. But we can't do it at this -4, -5. But we can do a crouch dash, and a crouch dash crouches faster. So we're going to do this, crouch dash. See? Crouch dash. And you can see that I stand right up immediately after this throw. So at -4, -5, this crouch dash will get us under throws. And the funny thing with Virtua Fighter is that almost all of the opponent's attacks are slower than the throw. Throws are 10 frames, and almost everything else is slower than that. And because of that, when we do this technique, we are blocking highs and mids after we crouch under an immediate throw attempt. This is what we call fuzzy guard, and it is a very core fundamental Virtua Fighter. I'm not saying you have to learn it, but I am trying to show you what a fuzzy guard looks like and why crouch dashing manually is faster than doing down and guard. Right? Down and guard, we're gonna take this throw because our character didn't duck in time, did not crouch in time. And so and you can see my inputs. I like to do 3-2-3 here. It's just a little easy on stick. It feels nice for me on stick, but I can do it this way too. And sometimes it's better. Like on player 2 side, I actually feel more comfortable doing the 3-5-3 method than the 3-2-3 method. And so this becomes really essential in Virtua Fighter. And so it makes certain attacks that are safer even more safe, because then your opponent has a harder time mixing you up. They have to change the timing. They got to do something like a delayed throw, which can be done with like a crouch dash in the throw. Really good. So crouch dashing is useful a lot. I use it a lot in neutral. And in Tekken, you might be wondering about wave dashing. Yeah, crouch dashing is basically wave dashing and a lot easier to do. Fighting your opponents this way is good because with the crouch dash, you have a higher chance at punishing them for doing a high attack. So you'll have a much higher chance at punishing them for doing high attacks. So that is the gist of crouch dash. Let's show some more complicated crouch dash applications just to round out this lecture. And I hope this made sense to a lot of players. If you have any questions, feel free to send comments on the video, and I will answer them when I see them. So Akira is a character where crouch dashing is super important, and you need to use both, the 3-5-3 and the 3-2-3. Okay, so Akira has this move 3-3-P. It's an uppercut, right? We're gonna set the AI to take our damage. So okay, so 3-3-P is this uppercut, right? And it's really good to know that 3-3-P is there. Okay, but he has, let's see, he has this 3P, and this is not the best use, but in case, like, let's say I wanted to crouch dash and do this 3P for whatever reason, then I can't do it with 3P like that. I could do it with 3-3P though, right? So suddenly I have this move again. It might not be the best move, but for some characters it might be the best move, might be a similar input. My Leon definitely needs to choose between doing this and doing this, right? Similarly, he's got shoulder ram, which is from crouch 3P plus K. So to do it fast, crouch dash again. Either way works. Okay, but now let's look at, he's got from crouch 6P, right? And to do that fast, you do crouch dash like we did before, 6P, crouch dash 6P. He also has, and this one like has a follow-up too, so it's kind of cool. It's a very cool move actually. If you want to get good at this move with Akira, but it's not his signature move, but it's a good move. He has a harder one from crouch, back forward punch, right? And it's kind of hard to do here, right? Without a crouch dash, this is actually very hard. That was the good one. That's what we wanted, right? Low punch into it. For a beginner, low punch, back forward punch. So 2P, 4-6P, right? 2P, 4-6P. But let's do crouch dash. Crouch dash, 4-6P. And so I get used to doing this really fast. But you gotta make sure you get crouch when you do it. And as Akira, you start to get the timing. And this is where you can use Corsical back twice into 4-6P is useful here, right? Except I screwed up. Yeah, this is I don't play Akira much, so I apologize. But this is, I know some people use this method, I don't, right? But I do something like this. And then again, shoulder ram is really important to be pretty consistent with this move. If you're standing, you'll get this for 3P+K. And this is a very good move by him, but let's say if you want shoulder ram, you do this. And you can actually cancel failed evades. That's another topic for another day. I won't go into advanced movement, but I'll just say that crouch dashing does help your advanced movement. Because we can cancel failed evades into forward dash and crouch dash. Actually, any dash. But it's really important to do it like this. So this is using ECD. That's for another day to discuss that. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed this lecture about crouch dash. Again, 3-5-3 or 3-2-3. Either way works. Get used to seeing this animation. Alright, I hope that helps, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care, and I'll try to do more lectures. Cheers.